Shalom. This is Truth is Everlasting, Lion's Den. I am Yahweh Sap. I camp out with Lion Den Hawan Ben Yashawada in Jacksonville, Florida. But first, I'd like to say a prayer to the Father, to the Son, to the elders, to the Akims, and to the women and children. Kal Halayim La Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Bahashem Ha Rokak Wadash Mahamaf. In the name of Yahweh Shai, in spirit and holy and truth. Double honors to the elders of GMS. Double honors to my elder, Power One. Salutation to the Akims who are on the four corners of the earth, and to the women and children, Shalom. Okay, well, it looks like it's already going to be here. Okay, things are moving so fast. There's only a matter of time when the second shutdown kicks in. It says here that the BIS plan for a global CBDC was just released. Let's listen to it.
The BIS just released their plan for a global central bank digital currency. In other words, the global elite have just revealed their Marxist agenda to control your life. In fact, the head of the IMF just came out and announced their plan for this global CBDC.
At the IMF, we are working hard on the concept of a global CBDC platform.
I'm going to explain what this is, why it should scare the hell out of you that they're even talking about this, and what you can do to push back in 3 simple, fast steps. Step number 1, let's go over WTF, this whole monstrosity, this global CBDC actually is. What they're calling it is a unified ledger. In their words, it's a tokenized, programmable platform. If this doesn't make any sense, don't worry about it. We're going to go over it thoroughly in this video. So it starts off with the real world here. Very simple example of assets, private property. We've got dollars, houses, and cars. Well, in this unified ledger, it's really a parallel system. So what they do first and foremost is tokenize all of the assets in private property in the real world. So tokenize sounds really fancy, but it's actually not that fancy. So what they're doing is they're saying, okay, you've got $1,000 in your checking account. We're going to go ahead and turn those $1,000 into this digital token, which is just a representation of what you have in the real world. But this token is going to include rules, what that asset can and cannot do. And who do you think determines who those rules are? That would be Klaus Schwab. I'm just using him as a proxy for the global elite, central planners, and authoritarians. But it's also going to include information, a lot of data that they get in real time from the real world. And once it's tokenized, then it goes on to this global unified ledger. So there's one ledger, one database for all of the assets and most of the private property for every single person that is part of this system, which would represent probably at least 5 of the 8 billion people on the planet Earth. Then once everything is tokenized and put onto the unified ledger, and we'll just call this Klausville, because in a way it's a lot like a video game, that if you could just take your assets and put them onto the video game and then trade them back and forth on the video game, it would happen instantaneously. Right? So I don't want to go too far down a rabbit hole, but if you could just think about this unified ledger as a video game, they're tokenizing all of your stuff and then putting it into that video game. But what happens in Klausville is actually legally binding in the real world. So main takeaways, assets and private property now have information and rules attached to them, such as ownership, changes in the assets or property, or individual transactions. And what happens up here like we said earlier, is legally binding. And usually, in order to buy, let's say, a house, in other words, a token of a house, you would have to pay for that with other tokens. More on that in step number 2, where we talk about why this should scare the hell out of you. Let's go over a quick example to make sure everyone's on the same page. Make sure you're getting your head around this. Let's assume for a moment that you lease a car. Okay. So that car, or a token of that car, would live on the unified ledger. Your bank account would also be tokenized. Every single dollar you have would also be on the unified ledger. And what happens when you lease the car is they would create a smart contract that said, let's say you're paying $500 a month to lease this car. So every single month, that $500 worth of tokens would go into the tokenized account of whomever is leasing you the car. But there would be additional data, because obviously the person who's leasing, or entity who is leasing you the car, wants to know things like, well, how many miles are you driving? Okay, well, that data would go into the unified ledger and into the token in real time. Also, where are you driving? Obviously, we need to know that. And how are you driving? Are you speeding? Because if you're speeding, obviously you're putting that car at higher risk. And if you do speed, then that should increase your payment from $500 a month, maybe to $550. And that's going to be included in this smart contract. And keep in mind, the entities or the individuals that will be in charge of creating these types of smart contracts, and the entities that are in charge of the rules of the entire unified ledger, in other words, the people who control all the assets and the private property, would be the global elite. Step number 2.
Okay, let's leave it at that. Okay, because I want to put it in the lesson. So as you can see, bottom line, they want to have total control. The title of this lesson, You Shall Not Steal. Okay, but from what he's talking about, it looks like they're gonna do more than just stealing, right? Let's see if I can put it in a different phrase. He said tokens, right? So they're gonna token us, then they're gonna specify it, and then they're gonna crucify it. Okay, meaning they're gonna con us, they're gonna steal from us, they're gonna deceive us, they're gonna defraud us, right? And they're gonna scam us, right? And on top of that, they're gonna be raping like crazy, because they're taking everything that you think is yours, right? And it's not. It's gonna be theirs. Okay, I want to go to Leviticus chapter 19, verse 11. Ye shall not steal, neither deal falsely. Look at that. Wow. Neither lie one to another. Well, this is what they're going to be doing, right? They want to bring in the, what they call it, the CBDC, right? A corrupted, supposed to be called an economic system, a digital system, an invisible system, right? That they made out of their head, and that they're the only ones that know the rules and control it and understand it, okay? So you can imagine how that's going to cause a lot of problems. I want to jump to verse 13. Thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor. Well, they're going to be doing that too, okay? Neither rob him. Woo, well, the wages of him that is hired shall not abide with thee all night until the morning. Well, they've been doing that for a long time, you know, by the rules of law of money, right? In scripture, they're supposed to pay you the same day in silver or in gold. Did you know that? Because when they hold money from us, or as they call it, a check, they keep some of that interest, the banks, okay? So now, even though they're going to be paying much quicker in the CBDC system, but it's invisible money. It's not a currency, even though they call it digital currency. You can't touch it. You can't hold it. You don't have control of it when you want to buy something. They're going to tell you what you can buy and what you can't buy. And in those rules, they're going to have tokens that expire. They're not even tokens. They're just calling it a token. Okay? It's crazy, right? Let me go to Exodus chapter 20, verse 15. Give me a minute while I hit this. Thou shalt not steal, making it clear. Verse 16. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Well, what do you think they're going to be doing with this new system? Bearing false witness, because they want to force everybody into what? Their belief system. And if you don't comply, well, with a switch of a button, now you can't work, you can't buy, you can't do anything. You see? Because they want you to be corrupted and wicked as they are. Bottom line. Let me go to Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 19. Neither shalt thou steal. Yeah, making it clear. Look at that. Verse 20. Neither shalt thou bear false witness again. Wow. Against thy neighbor. It just don't quit. It's all over the Bible, huh? You would think that they will listen and obey the Bible, but they don't, because these Edomites are the wicked that the Bible speaks of. Let's go to Matthew. Chapter 19, verse 18. He said unto him, which Yahweh said, thou shalt do no murder, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness. You know, these corporations that are saying they're going to be paying a lot of money to the governments, which are Edomites also, okay? So what they're really doing for the love of money is really for the love of wickedness that they're doing it. Okay? So keep that in mind. I want to take it to Mark. Mark chapter 10. Give me a minute. Verse 19. Thou knows the commandments. Do not commit adultery. Do not kill, meaning, do not murder, but they put kill, which is the wrong word. Do not steal. Do not bear false witness. Defraud not. Honor thy father and thy mother. Well, it's going to get to the point where 2/3 of our people ain't going to be doing that for long. Right? Because if you are not called to do the work of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, our people are going to be defrauding one another after a while. Okay? Because this system, the CBD system that they're bringing in, okay, which is going to be global, right behind that, they're going to mandate the CHIP, right? And I was just looking at a website where they even not only putting the bee things in food, but in mosquitoes, and they're going to be spraying it in the air. Okay? It's crazy how desperate they're getting, because they are fearful of the 144,000 chosen elect that are going to be awakened, changed with the new spiritual, powerful Superman bodies, and then turn loose around the world to clean house when Yahushua comes back in those so-called UFOs and the host of angels. Yeah, that's how come they're doing all this and more. Okay, I want to go to now Romans chapter 13, verse 9. For this thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not kill, murder, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness, thou shalt not cover. And if there be any other commandment, it is briefly comprehended in this saying, namely, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Well, they're not doing that. Edomites are not loving their neighbors. They're not even loving their own kind. They're going to stick it to their own kind. Okay? That's crazy. Let me move to verse 10. Love works no ill to his neighbor. Therefore, love is the fulfilling of the law. Yeah, well, they're not doing that. They love breaking the law, and they love no one, not even their own kind. Verse 11. And that knowing the time that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believe. Yeah, this goes out to the so-called Negros, Latinos, American speckled birds. It's time to stop drinking the Kool-Aid, right? And to repent. It's going to get ugly out there. Verse 13, let us walk honestly as in the day, not in rude thing and drunkenness, not in charm bearing and wantonness, not in strife and envy. Yeah. Verse 14, but put ye on the Yahushua and make no provision for the flesh. Don't let the flesh deceive you, to fulfill the lust thereof. Right? So, yep, CBDC is going to go global. It's going to get crazy. Proverbs chapter 22. Oop, I got to hit this. Verse 22. Okay. Rob not the poor, because he is poor. Neither oppress the afflicted in the gate. Yeah. Ain't they doing that already? Now they're just going to what? Increase it. Right? I mean, prices are going up in the grocery store, in rent, right? Electricity, gas. Because they want to have the last hurrah. And they're going to get the last hurrah. Just that the hurrah is not going to be what they're going to like. Let's move to Jeremiah. Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 9. Will ye steal, murder, and commit adultery, and swear falsely? Yeah, they will do that, and they will keep doing it. And burn incense unto Baal, and walk after other gods whom ye know not? Yeah. 2/3 of our people, so-called Negros, Latino, American speckled birds, as I'm doing this lesson, they are celebrating what? 4th of July? Right? Along with the Edomites. Thinking it's a beautiful, great thing. Wonderful. Right? Chasing after other gods they do not know. Loving it. All right. You have been warned. I'm going to Isaiah 61. Give me a minute. Verse 8. For I, Yahweh, love judgment. I hate robbery. For burnt offering, I will direct their work in truth, and I will make an everlasting covenant with them. Yeah. It's going to happen while 2/3 of people like it or not. So-called Negros, Latino, American speckled birds, and the Edomites, while they like it or not, they can't stop what Yahweh Shin Yahweh Shai said from the beginning of time, that he will remove the wicked from the face of the earth, and he will put the Edomites into slavery for 1,000 years. And then after that, extermination. Because you have done too much evil, too much hatred, wickedness around the world. Okay? I want to go to Habakkuk, if I'm saying it correctly. It's not Slovakia. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 9. Woe to him that covers an evil, covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of the devil. Yeah. Okay, of evil, Slakia. So it's going to get that ugly and that bad. 2/3 of people that keep insisting, giving Yahweh Shin Yahweh Shai the finger, right? And that have hatred and wickedness towards us because we go out in the houses and byways as a living sacrifice to call our people to repentance, and because they don't like that we read the judgments that are going to go upon the Edomites, okay. You will be sorry, and you will suffer shame before you pass away. Verse 10, thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people, and hast sinned against thy soul. Woo! Whoa, I didn't see that coming. Give me a minute. I gotta put that down right here. Let me jump to verse 5. Yea, also because he transgressed by wine, he is a proud man, neither keeper at home, who enlarges his desires as hell. That's talking about the Edomites. And is as deaf, and cannot be satisfied, but gathers unto him all nations, and heap unto him all people. See? Greedy as hell, okay, wicked as hell, okay, and destructive as hell, and suicidal as hell. If you do a survey, you'll find out that they are the highest level of suicidal people, okay? Take a look into it. I want to go to, give me a minute, Romans chapter 2. Gotta hit this. There we go. Chapter 2, verse 21. Thou therefore which teachest other, teachest thou not thyself? Thou that preachest a man should not steal, do thou steal? Yeah. Right? What they say and what they do is two different things. Right? Bottom line is they are wicked, they are deceitful, and they are liars. Okay? So let's go to, give me a minute, verse 22. Thou that sayest a man should not commit adultery, do thou commit adultery? Thou that abhors idols, dost thou commit sacrilege? Yeah. So let's look up that word sacrilege, and it says violations or misuse of what is regarded as secret. And what is regarded as secret? Well, Yahweh Bashin Yahushai's people who are connected with Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. The so-called Negros, Latino, Negros, and Seco birds, those who are called to do the work of Yahweh Shin Yahweh Shai. Right? You kept insisting and messing with us, right? And keeping us still to this day. Well, now you, Edomite, going to have to pay a big price. Everything that you took, everything that you had is coming back to us. Okay? Your wives, your daughters, your children, your family, and yourselves. Right? So do what you're going to do. Just remember, we're going to have the last hurrah, not you. Let's move to Ezekiel. Ezekiel, oh, did I pass it? Chapter 18, verse 12. Has oppressed the poor and needy, has spoiled by violence, has not restored the pledge, has lifted up his eyes to the idols, has committed an abomination. Yeah. Okay. 2/3 of our people keep worshiping the Edomites, right? Keep worshiping that blue eyes, long blonde hair that they love to call by his name, which is not really his name. His name is not Jesus. His real name is Caesar Borgia, son of a pope, who, by the way, loves to wear high heels. Okay? They're the ones that indoctrinated that belief system by raping our people. Okay. I think I'm going to leave it with Isaiah. Chapter 9, verse 4. For thou hast broken the yoke of his burden, and the staff of his shoulder, the rod of his oppressor, as in the days of Midian. Verse 5, for every battle of the warrior is with confusion, noise, and garments rolled in blood. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. Yeah. Since they keep insisting that they want to demand, threaten, force, right, their wicked ways to the whole world, well, this was going to come upon them and upon America. For unto us as a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. And his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Yeah. Yahushua is going to come back and clean house. All right? He's going to take the blessing that was given to, what was his name again in the past in the Bible? Esau. That the Edomites today have. It's going to be removed in 1 hour. All this high education, all these weapons that you have ain't going to stop. Not even AI, not even your robots, your drones won't be able to stop Yahweh Shai, all the hosts of angels, when they come back and kick your ass. Verse 7, oh, the increase of his government and peace, there shall be no end upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom to order it and to establish it with judgment and with justice. Woo! Wait, I got more. From henceforth, even forever, the zeal of Yahweh of hosts, that means of armies, will perform this. In verse 8, Yahweh sends a word into Jacob, and it has light upon Israel. Yeah, it's giving us hope. It's giving us the truth. And all we got to do is just read the words in the name of Yahweh Shai. And once it's been said, once it went out, it will happen. I hope that this was ever edifying. Oh, wait. I did. I hope this was edifying. And with that, I'll have to say, Shalom.